Hi beautiful souls, welcome to Elle's Temple. My name is Elle and I am a goddess guide and holistic healer, and today I am going to be bringing you a very special reading which is all about which chakra do you need to balance to attract in a healthy relationship or to attract in a relationship. Now, you can definitely use this if you're either single and you're dating, or you're looking to call in like your soulmate or twin flame or just life partner or whatever you want to call it. Or if you are already dating someone or already in a relationship, you can certainly use it to just help. I'm just kind of hearing help iron out any conflicts you might be having, or if there's anything that's not going harmoniously, which is, perfectly normal. We're all humans after all, we're having a human experience, and things can crop up along the way. So this can be quite useful even if you are in a relationship and you just want to sort of see what, if for some reason you're drawn to it, there might be a message in here for you in terms of like something that you certain chakra that you might need to balance just to help create a little bit more harmony within your connection. So it can certainly be used for either singles or in a relationship. My feeling is that for most of you though, this is perhaps more guidance for if you, it's kind of, I guess, if you're struggling to align with the types of partners that you want. So say for example, you seem to have a pattern of attracting a certain type of person, perhaps like someone who's emotionally unavailable, for example, or people who are kind of takers, or you're finding that you're falling into a certain pattern in connections where maybe you're feeling a little bit codependent, or you're struggling to put up boundaries or anything like that. This could be really useful to kind of perhaps find out where there might be some energy that might be perhaps a little bit blocked, and so there might just be a little bit of balancing that needs to happen in one of those chakra areas. So just to give you, if you already are familiar with chakras and you know what they are, feel free to skip ahead to the point where you pick your pile, or if you already know from looking at the colors, if you're all up with the play with that, feel free to skip straight ahead to your pile. I'm just going to do a quick rundown, a very, very brief intro on each of the chakras for those of you who are new to what chakras are. So basically there are 7 main chakras in the body, and chakras is just a word for energy centers. So there's essentially 7 main energy centers in the body. Now, we all are made up of energy. Even Einstein said this. This is not New Age spirituality. This is science. We're literally made up of energy. It's just that the energy on planet Earth vibrates at a denser speed than other places, essentially, and so our energy ends up condensing into physical form, like this table and myself. We're physically here, but we still have these like energy centers or energy vortexes within that sit like within ourselves, within our body, and also like around our body, like around our aura. And those energy centers, as we go through life, they can store energy from other people, sometimes from experiences, things from childhood, perhaps even traumatic experiences, certain sexual experiences, any fear-based experiences, survival things, all sorts of different things like that. A lot of where you've experienced something intense that was like intensely energetic, that can store in these different energy centers in the body. Now, there are 7 main ones. There's a lot more actually, but I'm not gonna, for the sake of this reading, I'm just going to concentrate on the 7 main chakras. So that starts with the root chakra, which we've got represented here by this gorgeous agate crystal here. So if you're drawn to this pile, there might be some messages around clearing, well, it is sometimes clearing, but more balancing your root chakra. You want each of the chakra centers, each of the energy centers to be not overstimulated or understimulated. The ideal is to have the energy evenly balanced within each one, within each of the 7 chakras, so that the energy can flow up through the Kundalini energy, which is your life force energy, your Shakti, your Chi, as it's known in I think China or in Qigong. so that energy can flow up through your body and back down again, so that you can receive wisdom and make things happen in your life. You ideally want to keep each of the 7 chakra centers as well balanced as possible, so that the energy can flow really freely. Now, like I said, what can happen is sometimes through certain intense energetic experiences, some of the chakras can become imbalanced, either too much, like you can have too much energy in a certain chakra, which can cause some issues, or not enough, which can cause different kinds of issues. So for the purpose of this reading, I'm focusing on, essentially relationships. Mostly, I think most of you who are drawn here will be drawn here because you're wanting to call in an intimate relationship, and perhaps you haven't been able to, or you're wondering, is there some kind of block? Like, what's holding it up? Like, how come other people are, attracting their soulmates and in union and whatever, and I haven't met them yet, So this is it's not gender specific. It's not just for women, it's for men as well, or, however you identify. But essentially, the messages, they're going to be overall balancing messages that will help you in your life anyway, but it will be particularly in regard to if you are either wanting to attract a relationship, or if you're in one and maybe things have been a little bit rocky, or you're just wanting to create more harmony in your partnership. So going back to the 7 different ones. So we had the root chakra, which is situated in the base of your spine, and it's like covers basically, in terms of physically, your legs and your feet and your root. So it's all about roots and family and survival, and covers. It's sort of a bit linked with the Pentacles card, I guess you could say, in tarot. So for those of you who read tarot or know tarot, you'll understand that, you'll resonate with that perhaps. So it's related to earth energy, to making things manifest, to money, survival, house, home, security, stability, that sort of thing. Then you've got your sacral chakra, which is we've got that embodied with this beautiful orange calcite crystal here, which is all to do with that's situated in the womb area. That's your for women, and just in the reproductive area, the sexual organs area for either men or women. And so that's to do with it's that kind of passion and zest and spark for life. It's associated with the fire element. So in tarot, it's associated with wands. It's all about that kind of having that va-va-voom, that get up and go, that spark, that drive, that sexuality, sensuality, passion, creativity. It's where creative ideas can originate, where that sort of initial spark of like, oh yeah, actually I really want to do this project around, whatever it might be. That's from your sacral chakra. Next, you've got your solar plexus chakra, which is in your gut, that sits above your sacral chakra, and it controls, physically controls your stomach area, your digestion, and it's connected with the color yellow. And here we've got the crystal citrine, beautiful sparkly citrine. And this is all about how you shine your light in the world, how you sparkle, how you what sort of how you put yourself out there with your career. It doesn't have to be exactly what you do for a job. It might be, you might do sort of things for a job that's just, hey, that's just something that pays the bills, but actually my real passion, what I love to do, what I really shine my light in and put myself out there in is this other thing altogether. So it's just all about, self-esteem, confidence, putting yourself out there, shining your light, associated with the sun. So then we've got the heart chakra here, which is represented by this gorgeous sparkly fuchsite crystal. Now the heart chakra, self-explanatory really. It's above the gut, it's above the stomach, it's your lungs and your heart, physically in the body, and metaphysically your heart. So it's all about love and unconditional love, giving and receiving love. It's not just to do with romantic relationships. That's slightly more, I guess, the realm of the sacral chakra. In terms of sexual partnerships, the heart chakra also does govern that, but it's also more widely to do with your self-love, to do with love of family, love of community, yeah, just generally love of your pets, whatever it is, love in general, ability to receive and give unconditional love is your heart chakra. And then above that, you've got your throat chakra, which is the color blue, and we've got embodied here with the sodalite crystal. And that governs your self-expression. So all about how you speak your truth, your authenticity, your integrity. Do you do what you're going to say? What is your truth? How do you express yourself? It can link quite a lot with the sacral chakra, because it can be linked with creative expression. So the sacral chakra might be where you have that initial creative spark to do something, and then the throat chakra is if you've got a balanced throat chakra, that's what allows you to sort of speak it out in the world, in a sense, like especially if the creative project is something related to art, for example, like or singing or speaking or writing or any of those kind of things. It's very much, the throat chakra is very important to have balanced if you're in any kind of expressive field, any kind of artist. It governs, your muses, your singers, your creators of the world who put things out, they put their voice out there, give their voice to something, especially those who use their voice for those who, people like journalists, things like that, people who use their voice on behalf of others. It's important to have a very well balanced, very strong throat chakra there. So that's identified by the color blue. The next one is the third eye chakra, which sits around the middle. Your third eye sits in your forehead, in the middle of your forehead, and it's here it's associated with the color purple, and here with the amethyst crystal. By the way, all these crystals all balance. These are all specifically guided. I've been specifically guided to include these particular crystals for each of these chakra readings. So, and they've been with the cards for the last 24 hours. So they've been infusing the cards in the crystal energy. So that will also help, just by virtue of watching this reading, to balance that chakra, because each of these crystals contains certain healing and balancing frequencies that help balance that chakra. So if you're drawn to a particular crystal without really knowing why, there's probably something in that crystal, there's probably some frequency in that crystal that's going to help balance that particular chakra it's associated with. These are not just random crystals that are just plonked on top or just happen to be color coordinated. They're actually specifically help with balancing that chakra. So hence why, for example, with the agate for the root chakra, it's quite a browny crystal rather than red. Red is technically the color for the root chakra, but this is a very grounding crystal. You can probably kind of feel it through hopefully you can sort of feel it through the energy of the camera. It's very sort of quite heavy and grounding, and kind of has that very earthy energy, almost like the color of mud or something. So it's quite nice. Anyway, going back to the third eye, this governs the imagination, the intuition, your instinct, your ability to connect with like your psyche and your psychic self and your dream life and all of that kind of thing. It's this chakra for your your tarot readers, your astrologers, your psychics, anyone with any kind of clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient kind of skills. That's all governed by the third eye chakra. And finally, we have the seventh chakra, which is the crown chakra, which we've got this gorgeous selenite here. Now, the crown chakra can sometimes be, in some circles, it's associated with the color like indigo, but in others, which is a very like royal color, and then others it's associated with white. So in this particular chakra deck that I've used here, I believe they associate it with a kind of a whitey silver, the crown chakra, but then other decks associate with purple. So just to be aware, take it either way. It doesn't really matter that much in terms of the exact color. It's just more about like what do you need to do to balance it, and whatever you're drawn to in terms of if a dark indigo color resonates more for you, then go with that. Anyway, so those are the 7 chakras. So there's I'm going to be doing about I say this every time and it always ends up being longer, but hopefully about a 15-20 minute fairly short reading for each of the 7 chakras around what do you need to balance for the chakra and how as well. So we're giving some holistic tips on how to balance that particular chakra for you. And I hope that this helps you to tap into anything that might be a little bit blocked. And when you start working with chakras, you might notice that certain things can start coming up to the surface and be released, and then over time you look back and you go, oh yeah, actually I was doing a lot of work around my, say, solar plexus around that time, and I was having a lot of stomach issues, and then later on actually I got like a really big promotion in my job, and suddenly my career started taking off, and blah blah blah. So when you start consciously working with each of the individual chakras, or with all seven, whether you do, there's a myriad of ways you can do this. You can do it through eating the colored foods related to the chakras. You can do it through listening to meditations related to the chakras. You can do it through listening to music or mantras related to the chakras. There's plenty of channels out on YouTube. If you're not familiar with that already, I'd really encourage you to have a listen. I think there's one called Meditative Mind, I think it is, or Magnetic Mind is what I'm hearing. I'm subscribed to so many of these kind of things. I can't remember completely exactly the name off the top of my head, but apologies. But I will put a link in the description box below for a couple of those things that I've used myself that have definitely helped me, and I've noticed some big shifts in that particular area of my life. Sometimes it can be quite helpful to have a bit of a system for your healing, or for things that you need to balance, because sometimes if you sort of feel like, okay, I really want to tackle these things in my life, it can feel a little bit overwhelming if you don't really know where to start, and you don't know like where there might be a block or what you need to do, and then you're just sort of randomly trying all sorts of different things and kind of coming at it a bit blindly, or a bit like, oh, let's just sort of look at the whole entire energy field, and that can be quite a lot. It can also be quite a lot for the body. So it can be quite helpful to kind of target in, because it might be that actually you might be quite well balanced in 6 out of your 7 chakras, and there's just a block in one chakra from one thing that might have happened to you in the past, for example. And if you focus on that one, that can just suddenly shift some energy, free things up a bit, create the energy flow, create a little bit more magnetism in your aura, in your overall body, and your confidence, and your confidence in yourself and your dating life, whatever. And then suddenly you find that actually things are starting to flow again, and people are coming in, and you're meeting the right kinds of people now, rather than people who were perhaps emotionally held back before. Suddenly it's like, oh, actually I am attracting emotionally available partners. Like, who knew? I've just spent the last 2 years finding I just was only attracting unavailable people, and then you just do a little bit of energy work on a certain targeted area, and that can make all the difference. So that was my that was the guidance, or the design behind this reading. So without further ado, that was a really big preamble. Apologies. Thank you for sitting through all of that if you are new to the chakra system. The timestamps will be below if you know what chakra you're drawn to. Now, you may well be drawn to more than one crystal or more than one chakra. And you may especially be drawn, for many of you, you might be drawn to the heart chakra one, and it might be useful to listen to the heart chakra one as well as whichever other one you're drawn to, just because the heart chakra is all about, well, attracting unconditional love. And I imagine, as most of you are here, you are wanting to attract in that type of perhaps long-lasting soul type of connection. Maybe not. If not, that's totally fine. Totally, you do you. But it's just if you do want to have perhaps more of an emotional commitment, or something that is really unconditionally loving, that type of sort of soulmate love, long-term union, that sort of thing, then the heart chakra one could be relevant to you as well. I would just put that out there. But whatever you are drawn to. So I'm going to leave this very long intro there. Thanks for sitting through that, and I will see you. Oh, sorry, just before I go, I'm going to really quickly, I've just been nudged to really quickly say also, there's this gorgeous bornite crystal here, which if for some reason you find like, oh my gosh, I'm drawn to all of the chakras, or I really want to do healing of all of them, this is a great coverall crystal for all of the chakras. It literally balances them all. I don't know if you can kind of see, the camera's a little bit going, it's a bit fuzzy when I hold it up close, but there's kind of almost like there's sort of here there's like these stripy colors, and it almost looks like sort of different colors of the rainbow. So anyway, it's just very sparkly and lovely, and it kind of, I feel like by holding it, it kind of adds a little shot of sparkly energy to like all my chakra system, so all my chakras. So it's really lush. I would highly recommend getting this if you can get hold of some. So yeah, I will just leave this gorgeous little baby here to infuse the overall reading. And like I said, each of the powers is going to have the energy of each crystal infused with it, so you'll be picking up that healing energy as you listen as well. Okay, I will see you in your piles. Bye bye. Hi there, pile one. If you chose this gorgeous grounding agate crystal and the root chakra, this is going to be your reading. So I've already pulled the oracle cards. There aren't going to be any tarot cards for today. It's just going to be an oracle card reading. So I'm just going to put, whoops, sorry, I'm going to start that again. Apologies. Do it the right way around. Okay, so we've got, to start with, we've got rosemary, this gorgeous herbiary deck. We've got the rosemary card. Sorry, yeah, rosemary card, which is remembrance. We've got the family card from the Chakra Oracle deck. Oh, sorry, actually, technically that deck's called the Chakra Reading Cards by Rachel Charman. From the Aboriginal Goddess Chakra Oracle, we've got Courageous Intent. We've got the Grounding card, another card from the Chakra Reading Cards. Pocket of Protection, Yarrow, another herbiary one. Then we've got Red Chakra Fairy. We've got the Thread from the Kim Kranz Archetype deck. We've got the Pan card from the Aboriginal Goddess Chakra Oracle, and another one from the same deck, the Earth Energies. So, okay, so my gorgeous root chakra folk. You can all see that okay. Okay, so the overall feeling that I got from, well, there's a couple of messages coming through for my pile ones related to the root chakra in terms of balancing it so that you can manifest in a relationship. My feeling is that there is something around possibly some kind of wounding that some of you might have had in childhood, because you've got this young girl here in the fetal position, or sort of not quite the fetal position, just kind of sitting up, but looking down at her knees, kind of scrunched over. And we've got the family card, and we've got a remembrance with the thread, and also the thread and the archetype card. So there's this kind of theme running through of like a thread to your childhood or to your family. Like what might be imbalanced is that there's I'm hearing like an over influence from your family, maybe. So maybe your family were a little bit overbearing, and left you, you were perhaps, that this is like your inner child is a little bit, was a little bit maybe misunderstood. And so there might be some healing to do, or some balancing out to do with like not letting your family kind of dictate what you should do in your romantic life, or who you should be allowed to date, or maybe they've had a bit of an over influence, or I'm hearing like maybe there might have been, for some of you, it might have been religious influence or something along those lines. But I feel like with this remembrance card here and this thread, it's like there's always going to be, and it's almost like there's a thread running through this red chakra fairy as well. There's always going to be this connection to your family and your roots, and that's a good thing because, you know, as humans, as mammals, we're trained to do that for survival. But if it threatens your soul, I'm seeing like with this thread here, there's like all this gray and black kind of around, and then there's just this person kind of clutching onto a red thread, but then there's this rainbow of all the different chakra colors up here, and it's like you're trying to get up here, but there's kind of this dark influence around you. So maybe your family had, yeah, I feel like maybe there's just been a little bit, maybe a little bit too much. You might have had quite an intense childhood, or just quite overbearing, or a lot of siblings even, or a lot of people who get involved in your life. Maybe you're like the youngest of a family. Like I feel like you're kind of one of these little baby monkeys, and then there are a lot of like bigger monkeys, bigger, you know, bigger humans, bigger siblings and adults. Or, you know, maybe you come from one of those very extended families where you had a lot of influences, like grandparents around you, or aunts and uncles, and they might have been a bit overbearing on, you know, on you as a person, and maybe even your dating life, and you couldn't kind of do that without being like under their scrutiny. I'm hearing it's quite a specific message that might not really apply to very many of you, but take it as it resonates or as it applies. So maybe you know, family or your root chakra is to do with sort of like your tribe. So sometimes this can be not just your immediate blood relatives, but sometimes your, you know, whoever was sort of your tribe growing up. So, you know, it could be your school friends even, or something like that. They had, you know, maybe they were either religious and you weren't, or vice versa, or they just had some kind of other, like I'm hearing other agenda for you. Like maybe you come from a cultural background where it's like an arranged marriage type situation, or even if it's not like officially arranged, like say in, I know perhaps certain cultures in India and so forth, they still do that, but even in some forms of like Western society where arranged marriage isn't officially done per se, but there's still a lot of like pressure to get married, or to meet a certain type of person, or to like, I'm hearing like marry someone with money. So it might be that you've had quite a lot of influence from your family around like the type of person you should bring home or like be with. But I'm getting sort of two messages with the thread thing. First of all, that it's like the red thread often symbolizes a it can symbolize both a tie, like a karmic, ironically, it can symbolize almost like a karmic tie to, say, your tribe or your family, or a karmic person from your childhood or your background that you're still somehow connected to, and there's like a thread to them, or there's a thread of energy that runs back and forth between the two of you, or between, you know, your family or your tribe and you, keeping you sort of tied in a way. But then there's also the other nudge that I got, or guidance I got when I pulled this remembrance card, was that, remember that the red thread can also be to do with like a twin flame, or like, if you don't believe in that concept or don't follow that, don't worry about it. It's more just to do with like a destined soul counterpart connection, where like you've potentially had past lives with them, and so the red thread is symbolic of like someone whose soul you recognize, and who is like soul family to you. So you've got like your actual family that you're somehow tied to, and that might be trying to influence like your dating life, or even if they're not, they might not even be in your life anymore, and they might not even be like verbally telling you any of this or consciously telling you any of this, but somehow you've internalized a lot of their beliefs about the type of person you should be with, or what you deserve, or who you should attract, or something like that, and that's affecting your life now, when in actual fact there's like a soul connection, like a destined soul connection that you'll remember. It's like this card with remembrance and rosemary. It's like you'll remember it when it comes in, like when you actually meet this person, you'll know, like you'll remember them, because you'll remember them on a soul level. You won't have met them in your 3D day-to-day life, but your soul will know who they are, because you have like that red thread between you and their soul, and that's like a destined soulmate type connection. And with the thread coming out in the archetype, as the archetype card of what you need to balance, it's like a double confirmation that is available to you, and that could come in once you've balanced out this tie with your family. And it's almost like you need to, it's not so much like cut cords with your family, but cut ties in terms of like, you know, hey, I'm just gonna go off and I don't need you and I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. No, it's not saying that. It's more just like energetically, consciously deciding to not to let them, or what you've internalized from your tribe, their beliefs and so forth, decide for you the person that you're with. Because I feel like this person that you've got this soul tie with, and potentially have past lifetimes with, this soulmate person, can't come in whilst you're looking. Perhaps conventionally, you might be under some, I'm seeing someone on some kind of like a dating app, but a very specific dating app that maybe your family or your tribe or part of the people you're around are like, oh, you've got to go on this app, or you've got to go on this website, because you're going to find people who are like you, in terms of, you know, maybe the religion or the culture or the whatever. And my sense is you won't really be that happy with that person. It will just be what I'm hearing is functional relationship. Wow, that was quite heavy. That was more than I was expecting to come through. So, I mean, that this is quite a sensitive reading, because obviously I don't want to, as a reader, like suggest that you do anything that like you know, goes against your values or anything like that. But I just feel like the message from spirit is to keep open. You know, you could still, you know, if you have to be on this app or this searching in this way for someone, you could still do that, but consciously open yourself up to, you know, ask your spirit guides or ask your higher self, like, okay, maybe this other way of trying to look for my person's not really working, like the way my family or my tribe or my peers, you know, or whatever, have suggested to look for someone this way, and I'm not really attracting the type of person that really lights me up. And I've got a feeling in my gut or a feeling in my soul that there is this soulmate person. So guide me to them, like show me the thread, like give me the next bit of the thread to kind of pull along, like with this thread card here, so you can go up to like your rainbow out of this darkness. Because I feel like you were in quite a heavy environment, maybe as a child or growing up or as a teenager or something. You know, like I say, this might not be your family. This is quite a specific message, so it might not resonate for everyone. It might be like your school or your job or your peers or a cultural group you were in or something like that. But there is this soul remembrance. And if you open up and allow your soul to lead you to that person, you might meet them in the most incredible of ways, like in such a synchronistic way you could never have expected. And I feel like that's moving on to this next part of this next side of the reading, which is this courageous intent. And it's what I was saying about, like, if you can consciously set that intention to open yourself up to like your soul family and your soul tribe, you'll be pulled out of this darkness through this destined red thread up to like this like, it's like the, you know, over the rainbow. It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or like you'll have this rainbow of blessings. You know, if you can be courageous enough to kind of walk away from what your tribe might be dictating to you, and balance that chakra out a little bit, like not let it be over dominated by old beliefs. Now, this could be, like I said, this might not be anything to do with your family doing anything now whatsoever. They might not be even mentioning anything to do with relationships to you at the moment. They might be actually quite liberal, but something from childhood, some kind of wounding from childhood, some kind of, gosh, I'm hearing like branding, but it's like in a like your programming somehow might have led to some like somewhat limiting beliefs or something around maybe what you deserve, or who you can attract, or like almost like you've got quite low expectations of like, oh well, I'll just, as long as I could just find someone functional. So you're kind of going about it in a functional way, like I've just got to get this tick this box and get this, like get married or something. Now that won't be for all of you, and I'm not saying that in a like, oh, that's really terrible that you're on an app. No, not at all. Please understand that's, whichever way you've been doing, it wasn't wrong. It's just that spirit is saying, like, if you're finding it's not really working and it's not really lighting you up, and your soul is yearning for something more, there's a reason it's yearning for it. It's like everything that you're yearning for is yearning for you. Everything that you're waiting for and wishing for and hoping for is coming towards you. And that's this pan person. I feel like this pan person is your like soulmate. Yeah, lovely masculine energy there. And this is energy we're talking about, so it can be a man or a woman. It's not gender specific, but like, it's like, if you can set the intention, at the moment, it's like I'm being guided to say your soul family is sort of, or your soulmates and stuff, they're kind of these very like faint people in the distance. And like as you set that courageous intention, they're going to come more and more towards you. They're going to be drawn more and more towards you as you sort of let go of your, and balance out your perhaps over connection on your root chakra, and stay open to these other like the soul family coming in, soul tribe coming in, as opposed to like your physical tribe that you say grew up with. And like I said, it'll be different for everyone. For some of you, that'll be family. For some of you, that'll be friends. So you might still have friends from school that are quite aggressive, maybe I'm hearing, like a bit bossy about like who you should date, or like, oh, get on this app and do this and rah rah. And it's like, I'm just thinking, 1 second, I'm being guided to the little book, because I feel like there's another message under pan. Yeah, okay. So what I'm getting is that this pan person is like, pan is kind of representative of that kind of, like, it's short for pandemonium, but it's almost like that slightly trickster energy. He's a very kind of sexual and sensual creature, and my feeling is that once you set that intention to open up to your like true soul family and your soulmate and so forth, and have a bit of fun. Now that can be different for everyone. I'm not saying in any particular way, just be a little bit lighter with it. Maybe it's just like not looking so hard in terms of like, oh right, okay, I've got to put myself out there on all these profiles and date all these different people and treat it like almost like a project, like I've got to find this functional relationship. Kind of just be a bit lighter and have a bit more fun with it, and that this person, when they come in, they'll be quite different, I think, from your usual type, or maybe the type that your family or friends or tribe, original tribe, like what you grew up with tribe, would expect you to be with. But this would be very good for you. Like, the guidance is like, I mean, it's talking about Pan had, he had that sort of, he represents unbridled male sexuality. He had lots of sexual escapades, except for he believed it was all in fun and good spirit. His trickster type nature only enhanced the naughtiness of his reputation, so much so that later the Christians depicted Pan as the devil. And then the book is asking, so where do you fit in this story? How does this card relate to you, you ask? Well, stop being so serious. Have some fun, even if it is of a sexual nature. You don't have to go to extremes, but you do need to lighten up a bit. You have taken life so seriously lately. I bet you can't remember the last time you had a really good belly laugh until the sides of your rib hurt and your face ached from the laughter. Make some plans to do something fun and maybe socialize with a different group of friends. Interesting, because I was talking about someone with some strong group of friends. You might need to look at so just going out and having a good laugh with a different group of friends. You need to laugh and you need fun in your life. You will feel so much better afterwards. My feeling is you might meet this person doing something differently. So if you feel like, well, why am I not meeting someone, and everyone else from my friendship group or whatever, they're all married now, and I'm just sort of going on these dating apps and I'm not meeting the right person. Do something a bit different, have a bit of fun, lighten up, treat it rather than treating it like a project. Treat it like let it go, let go of trying to attract someone, and go out and have fun with a different group of friends. Because my feeling is when you aren't, I mean, I know this is so trite and cliche and everyone says this, but it genuinely is true, because it's been true of my experience, and it's true of friends of mine who have also met their person. You always meet them when you least expect it. And when you're sort of trying and you're going on these dating things and you're like, right, I've got to find, it's got to be this and I've got to match and blah, blah, blah. It just puts so much pressure on the situation. Whereas if you're just out there exuding a sense of groundedness, you need to ground as well, ground your own energy, because then when you're grounded and you're connected with earth energies, you're not being driven by the pack and the tribe and these other friends or your family or some limiting beliefs from childhood, some wounding. You're grounded into the presence of who you are. You feel a right to be on this earth. And this person who comes in, this Pam person, is going to help you feel that. I think they're very grounded. They're very in their sort of almost like animal self, but in a good way. They're very embodied and very connected with the earth. And that's going to really I think they also they're a lot of fun, and I think you need that, Pawan. I think I'm hearing bogged down, it's almost like your root chakra is if you tune into the color, if you take a deep breath and think about where your root chakra is in your lower hips, your backside, your seat, your thighs, your knees, your calves, and your feet. If you connect in with that whole area and then tune into a color, can you see what color it is? I feel like it might be quite dark maybe, and that could be a sign of too much influence, too much root influence from your earth family in this life. And if you can just consciously set the intention, the courageous intention, I know that's hard to walk away from or not walk away from, I'm not saying walk away from your family, but like internally to make the decision not to follow, you know, your family's path or like your tribe's way of doing things necessarily, like whether it's an arranged marriage thing or, you know, going dating through a certain app or whatever it is, you know, to make the intention to be like, hey, I trust myself, I trust my soul, I trust my spirit, I've got this remembrance, I've got this yearning for this person, I know they're out there, and I know they know I'm out there, and there's a reason I can sort of sense them. And then he, you know, he's going to come in when you're having fun, when you least expect it, when you're not trying, when you're in your body, when you're grounded in your body. And also we've got yarrow here, which is pocket of protection. So I feel like you can't, it's kind of saying when you're grounded and connected with like your own energy on the earth, rather than being driven by left, right and center by everyone else and what they're telling you to do, you'll be protected. Can you see these like night, gorgeous, like they're like a knight in shining armor, the gloves that a knight in shining armor would wear, holding this beautiful crystal ball with this beautiful yarrow flower inside. And my feeling is that this is your person holding you. You're going to be treated like with kid gloves by this pan person, by this slightly okay, I'm hearing I'm just looking at, it's very physical. It's a very, like, it's a physicality thing. I think there might be quite a lot of passion in this connection that might come through. You might even meet them somewhere like at the gym or like working out or doing some kind of like physical activity, swimming, yoga, running, something like that. But look outside the box, look outside the conventional ways or the ways your family have said or your friends have said, and set the intention to be open to serendipity and synchronicity and signs and nudges. If you get nudged on your way to work to go in a different route, and then on that route you happen to see, you go through a park, for example, and you see a sign up in the park saying, hey, we're doing parkour lessons, or, you know, it's quite specific, but something like that, or like some kind of workout thing. And then you're like, oh, that sounds quite fun. I feel like doing that. Do it. do it. Like, don't question it. Don't overthink it. Don't think like, oh, well, you know, I shouldn't go because that's not the sort of thing that my family would approve or whatever. Just when you're nudged in weird ways like that, that's your soul telling you to go do something, and you're protected. Like, this isn't leading you astray. You're not being led to do something dodgy or anything. So don't worry. Like, you know, don't do anything that like compromises your values, for goodness sake. Like, you know, take responsibility obviously, and be, you know, do things that are in alignment with your you know, your boundaries and what you feel is right for you. But just be a little bit more open, and just ground a little bit more in who you are. I see you perhaps like going for more what's in nature, or you know, again, this person's very physicalized in their energy, very embodied, very, you know, they might work with trees, for example. They might do a lot of hikes or nature walks, so maybe doing that type of activity might be somewhere you meet them, or you know, it just opens up your circle. You never know, you might kind of balance things out a bit in your energy and your aura, and you feel a bit more grounded in yourself, and then someone that you've met through hiking or something then says, hey, come to a birthday party, and you go, and that's where you meet your soulmate or something, and it's because you're then grounded in your own core self and who you really are, and so that's how you magnetize in this person, this true connection that you've had through lifetimes. Okay, that's it. Your guides, or my guides, your higher selves. That's all the energy that's coming through for my pile ones. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the Elle's Temple community. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean the world to me. Please share this video if it resonated. I will be posting more readings related to relationships and career and purpose and everything else, and goddesses and all that yummy good stuff over the coming months. So if you'd like to get more content, then definitely do hit the subscribe and notification bell. Please leave a comment if this did resonate for you. I'd really love to hear from you, and all the best with your finding your soulmate. All my love. Bye bye.